This pursuit started a little while ago. Skyfox was getting fuel someplace else, but we did show up, and at the time we showed up, it was already pulled over. The driver of that vehicle, apparently, it described as a female, and they wanted the vehicle for stolen. That's what they were saying. It was a stolen car, but then at some point there might have been some narcotics involved, possibly being... Actually, it was a pickup truck that pulled up. We were listening to this on the scanner, and when that pickup truck pulled up, the driver got out of the car, went over there. There was some discussion, and then she got back inside the vehicle. She'd just been sitting there on the side of the road. Now, the helicopter, the LAPD helicopter, was making some calls out there. It's basically telling the guys on the ground, look, I know we're not going to chase this person, but it would be good if we would just kind of pull up behind her and maybe try to take her into custody. Dylan, we got to move a little bit forward, a little bit forward, a little bit forward. And Dylan being my pilot this morning. And so what had happened was finally one of the units, black and white, did pull up behind that vehicle, and then sure enough, she took that sunshade down, and the pursuit following is back on. You can see that car making a turn right now. It's about a 2000 Camry. We're definitely in the Van Nuys area right now, the very industrial part of the Van Nuys area. And again, the original want stolen, and then possibility of narcotics. Also, I would venture to say that this isn't just from people watching on the internet or watching the chase on television. A couple of people have been making their way over to the car. So I don't know if she's making phone calls, trying to get people to come by or maybe help her out. But there was another person just arriving when that LAPD vehicle showed up, and then the driver took off once again, and you see it right there. Now this vehicle on the run, but is it a pursuit? That's the big question. I think LAPD is just going to keep this in a following type of situation.
Yeah, interesting. You saw for a moment there driving on the wrong side of the road, but there had been erratic driving earlier on and driving on the wrong side of the street earlier on as well. But yes, for a while that car had just pulled over. The driver did get out. I watched her as she went and grabbed some things from the trunk of the car. It almost looked like, I don't know, papers or folders in a red binder, and then got a couple things out of the back seat as well, and then got in the car, put that sunshade up, and just sat there for a while until, you know, we saw right now she decided to take off. But again, she's pulled over again. What part of town are we at specifically at this moment? And you saw her bring her window back up. So this is very strange behavior.
Very strange behavior indeed. When do we see one of these pursuits where it's predictable? That's kind of the other side of the question. You know, we just brought it up so everybody can follow along at home. This is on Raymer and Kester, and this is definitely going to be in the Van Nuys area. She kind of put it in reverse, but you know, is she waiting for somebody? Is she expecting you know, a ride to show up? Is that kind of the idea? And if it is, she's got to know that the LAPD helicopter is watching her, at least making orbits down there. So even if she does get into another vehicle, then they're going to pull that other vehicle over. So right now it is just kind of like you said, very interesting. She pulled up, she parked it, she pulled over, you know, actually backed in. It's a red curb, so, you know, car might get towed. I'm trying to be a little sarcastic there. You know, one of these, sometimes we don't want to poke too much fun at it because you just never know where this pursuit or how this will turn out. An erratic driver, somebody behind the wheel, this could end very poorly, and you know, we just don't want to see anybody get hurt. But right now, the LAPD helicopter, again, is making calls, trying to talk to the folks on the ground, and just saying, you know, let's try to, you know, maybe put some spike strips out, maybe kind of block her, just do something to bring this to an end. Because this car does stop at more than, you know, we've seen it stop now twice and just kind of sit and wait. That sunshade, maybe we can move Skyfox around just a little bit, see if she put that sunshade back up. We did see in the window just moments ago that, you know, she does seem to be moving around in a, only way I can describe it as a little bit of a frantic type of situation. The windows are up, and you know it's hot out here today, so that car's got to still be running. There's no way she's sitting in that car without that AC on. So again, we're just kind of sitting here and waiting. We're going to see if the LAPD helicopter gets the guys on the ground to try to maybe pull up behind her, block her in, try to get that suspect into custody.
So all we know is that stolen car, this Camry, possible narcotics involved. Thus far, it seems like she's the only person in this vehicle. And the behavior, I mean, all the times do we do these pursuits and stories, and the behavior is always strange, but this one definitely a little different than what we're used to.
Definitely a little different, that is for sure. You know, the sit and wait stuff is what always kind of gets me, and I'm sure a lot of folks at home we all do it. We're like, well, why aren't the cops showing up? Why don't they just pull up next to her, try to block her in? There's a lot of protocol set up because you know, the law enforcement, this isn't their first rodeo. That's what we always have to learn. And you know, this is the thing also. We live in this very litigious society where, you know, if a law enforcement vehicle blocks her in and then she does something erratic to try to get away and creates damage, or you know, does something that could harm an officer, everything changes again. And then when that happens, you know, that's the reason why they will not create a situation that will put that suspect in danger. They won't put their law enforcement officers in danger. So that's the reason why this is what we have now, where we just kind of sit here and we wait for that suspect to get out, get on foot, and maybe put herself in a situation where they can take her into custody. Either that, or perhaps we can, you know, perhaps she'll start driving again and it'll change up. But for the most part right now, it is a lot of wait and see type of situation. This is a very industrial area. We talked about that just moments ago. And the reality is she literally was just over here just moments ago. That was the area where we were looking at her just moments ago. So she must know this area, either that or it's just a real big coincidence. And again, I venture to say she's making some phone calls, trying to get a hold of somebody, trying to get some help to come down here and help her out of this situation. And when I mean help, I'm not talking about law enforcement or an Uber. I think she's trying to dial a friend, as it would be, from as they used to say, and maybe somebody will come by in a vehicle. But if that happens, then we'll just, you know, law enforcement will just follow that other vehicle, and then maybe the dynamic will change, but hopefully this person will just go into custody, that car will go back to their owner, and it'll all end peacefully. But right now, it's just a lot of wait and see.
Do we see any, I can't tell from the shot we have right now, but do you see any police cars in the vicinity?
None. No. None. And when I did that wide shot, I was kind of curious what happened to that black and white that was behind her when she was up on Arminta just moments ago. That was my curiosity. Was they've got to be close by. You know, I'm not giving away any secrets. I've had people, you know, DM me or text me in the past saying, you know, you shouldn't say that. You're giving it away. You know, if this person is actually listening to us, that's fantastic. But I don't think they are. And you know, they have been. The helicopter very proactive today. Whoever the officer is in there, that guy should get a gold star. Really trying to get this suspect into custody within the parameters of the protocols that LAPD has. He's been calling out, making suggestions like, hey, we can get some spike strips here and here because this is the only way this suspect can get out. And you know, is that happening? As far as I can tell, no, it's not. The reasons why, I mean, that could be multiple. Maybe they just don't have a black and white with the device, the spike strips per se. There could be a lot of things. But right now, I do see a little bit of activity, even though it's that very dark tint. So I'm guessing that you can see it right there. You can see that arm moving around. So she's got to know that she's being watched. And they also, you know, got to know that whoever that person is trying to get here. And again, that's just a guess. It's, you know, that person's probably doing the same thing. It's like, do I want to put my neck on the line? Do I want to wind up, you know, aiding and abetting? And, you know, who knows? So, again, we're sitting here. We're waiting. You can see her arm right there. That helicopter is not left. So LAPD still has a vested interest in this. It's just, you know, you got to play the game within the law enforcement rules. The suspect has very few rules, but again, we don't know what she's going to do and what card she's going to play next.
But since this car seems to be kind of in its own, not really impacting other drivers or other people at this point, from what we can tell, I know that the average person watching this is wondering, I don't understand, why can't the police just pull up behind the vehicle and approach it, right? It's a little bit more complicated, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's a lot more complicated. And I venture to say this person down there, an avid viewer out there with the cell phone taking pictures, probably trying to post it on their feeds. And then again, you've got other vehicles slowing down. Don't know, you know, again, you don't know. Do they know this person? Do they know the situation that's going on? Because a lot of times this stuff is out on digital. It's on the internet. There she goes, and just making a move. So we're going to keep an eye on it. The helicopter definitely making the calls right now. Wrong side of the road. You did bring that up earlier on, but that time definitely just passing that vehicle that was just kind of cruising by. And I guess just from the feel of it, that's the only thing we can go by. If in the helicopter, that car knew what they were doing, making that turn, coming up here. I believe we're going to be coming back out onto Kester here in just a moment. You know, they've got a target out here. The road is really rough, I can tell you that. So if she does really start speeding up, there might be some issues, or maybe she was just looking for a better place to park where it is a little bit shadier. That appears to be what's going on. Just coming to a stop now on Kester, at the corner of Kester and Raymer.
Except didn't park under the tree where it would actually be shady, back out in the sun. Very odd behavior. But when she did drive off, you saw she had a good amount of speed. So the behavior is definitely erratic.
Definitely erratic. You know, that we read people's how they act, the movements, and that's the only thing we can do from looking at from the helicopter. And that kind of just tearing out of there, making that quick move, and it's getting frustrated. I feel frustration from that suspect. And then you have a little bit of that. You can see it in there. Her arms are moving around. Don't know if she's on the phone or what she's doing, but there's definitely something going on inside there. Looks like she's moving stuff around, tearing something up, or maybe even trying to change. Maybe she's trying to change her clothes, because she did get out and they did have a description of what she was wearing. Maybe she's trying to just change, you know, do a little, outfits change before she comes back out into the sunlight. We just don't know, but we're going to keep an eye on it and put on some sunscreen perhaps. So right now we just don't know. We're going to keep an eye on it, but you can definitely see a little bit of erratic movement inside there at the driver's seat. And again, things like that, we're poking a little fun at it. Law enforcement, they're going to look at that much differently. They're going to be concerned that that person might have a weapon or might be trying to set up something. But and again, there you go. You got a lot of that showboating going on out here. Other folks just driving by, because you know, this is the thing. We put this out on the internet. We put this out on television, and the LA culture. That's what's become of it.
Yeah, that is how this goes, isn't it? I'm trying to, trying to figure out what she's doing in there. It was odd to see her come out of the car and she fiddled around in the trunk, and then it seemed like she grabbed binders or paper or folders, something covered in red, and then went into the back seat and grabbed what appeared to be a coffee cup, and then just got back in there. You're trying to make sense of rhyme or reason, but there might not be any rhyme or reason at all. It could be purely random here. So she's taking off again. Let's see, seems to be picking up speed. It doesn't seem like there are many cars around. You did mention it was a bit of an industrial area there, although we did pass a Target, it looks like, right there, right?
Yep, there's a Target. There's going to be, as we keep on moving down this roadway, there's going to be a little concrete company. I can tell you the road itself is really bumpy right there, but at these speeds, it shouldn't make any kind of difference. If she was really moving along, there might be a little bit different, but it does look like these are folks that are, making it inconvenient for the driver. These people right there, I'm almost thinking that, are they getting involved? Or is it just a coincidence? Because, like I said, that yellow truck right there, that does seem to be a city truck, so I would venture to say that that is not a city employee that's going to make a move like that with a city vehicle. So maybe that really just was somebody making a U-turn in front of that vehicle. We're working our way back. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, see? And that's the bike strap. Oh, nice toss.
Got it.
Nice toss.
Got the back tires there.
Yep. Yeah, it could have. It could have gotten it. And, you know, we talked about that in the past, too. This isn't like in the movies where you toss it out and the tire explodes and, you know, it becomes to shreds. These are basically hollow nails. That's the only way you can describe it, that are attached to that plastic piece. And they just kind of get into the tire and they let the air out slowly. So we're going to see if it worked. It did. She definitely ran it over. But did the nails get into the tire? That's going to be the question. And also, is it going to be enough to bring her to a stop? That's going to be the other question. You know, so we're just kind of making our way back the way we came. I'm kind of curious if she's going to make her way back onto Arminta. But right now, this pursuit definitely moving once again. Second, whoop, is that a spike?
Oh, yes,
Whoa.
It is.
Oh, up.
Oh.
But that officer, they have their weapons out. So we're going to be a little bit more cautious. We don't want to see... You don't want to see that at all, but they definitely have their guns drawn. Those are not less than lethal. And that vehicle stopping, her hands definitely out, so perhaps that's what she needed to see. But, you know, again, until that driver is in custody, we got to be very careful on what they're doing. We did see something getting shot. Oh, okay. So the one officer has... I thought I saw something green right there. So maybe they're shooting non-lethal or shot a non-lethal at her. Because I definitely saw something right there.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
It seemed like it went over the car, though. So that was a spike strip, though, right?
Oh, that's definitely a spike strip right there on the ground.
So he was attempting
to
deploy that, and then in the middle of it just dropped it. And interesting that she's following orders. All of a sudden.
No, she's talking. Yeah, she's talking. Well, I wouldn't say about following orders. She does have her hands out. I definitely would too. These types of situations get very, very tense. You know, look at the number of officers that are here now. So hopefully there isn't going to be any type of situation where she puts it in reverse. And, you know, and this is the thing also. Could it be an accident? Could she have just kept it in gear, just panicking? You know, we just don't know. But it looks like there's no reverse lights on. The car is still running. But the officers, you know, this is the thing. You know, nobody wants to harm anybody. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt or worse. That right there is definitely going to be a less than lethal weapon where you see that lot of green going on. And those could be bean bags. Those could be or a pepper ball. But it looks like something's going on. There's that paperwork you were talking about. And, wow, she just climbed right out of the car. There you go. Maybe there was a problem with the door, but definitely looks like it's coming to an end. Definitely looks like it's coming to an end.
Okay. Well, she's following orders now, backing up. Huh.
Little Dukes of Hazzard action right there. I don't know if the door's working or not, but she definitely climbed out that window. And but we know the door works. We saw the door working earlier.
Right.
I don't know what that was all about. So, and, you know, the officers still have to, again, we talk about that a lot, is protocol. They're going to have to clear the vehicle, even though we pretty much are sure that she was in there by herself. They're going to have to make sure that there's nobody in the car. So these officers going to keep an eye on her. These officers making their way over to the car. They're going to look inside. They may open a door, and then we'll also see them open up the trunk. It's always a real curiosity what people have in their trunk. Apparently there's paperwork. It was in this one. You said it just moments ago. But they will probably pop that trunk here in just a moment or two. But that car now officially cleared, and they're going to put the cuff. Yeah, the pavement's probably going to be really hot. But, you know, again, they're going to put the cuffs on her, and it looks like another one coming to an end peacefully. That suspect in custody, nobody got hurt, and it shows you. LAPD, this isn't their first rodeo. They made it happen, and nobody's hurt.
Stu, thank you. Thanks to the Skyfox crew for bringing us the very latest there. You saw this pursuit in Van Nuys, a strange and interesting one come to an end.